We're nearing the end of Matlock Season 1, and Matty only has a few loose ends to tie up before revealing her Wellbrexa findings to the New York Times. Unfortunately, Mrs. Belvin is the one with the threads Matty requires, and the Jacobson Moore office manager refuses to pass them up unless Matty discloses her name. Matty is forced to play offensively to persuade Belvin to lock down the timing of the stolen documents so that he and Edwin can close the case. However, Matty is so fixated on Belvin that she is unaware that she is the subject of a separate investigation. Olympia and Edwin make significant headway in the Wellbrexa case, but she also learns a lot more about her best work pal, threatening Matty's entire plan. The team gets a righteous win in Matlock Episode 16. Before those revelations are revealed, Olympia's law school bestie and public defender, Amina, approaches the team with a wrongful conviction claim. Isabel Sanchez was on a jury 21 years ago and believed she and her fellow jurors had convicted the wrong guy for murder. Olympia and Matty travel to the prison to see Jean, a doorman convicted of murdering a tenant after she complained about him not bringing up her dry cleaning. Jean's statement and the 9-minute murder window persuade Olympia and Matty that he is innocent, and they agree to take the case, although it may jeopardize Olympia's chances for partner. Jean has already exhausted his appeals, so Olympia and you three must think outside the box to revive the case. They have Isabel seek to sue the jury foreman who pushed her into agreeing to a conviction, and they use that lawsuit to gain access to all of Jean's trial evidence in order to prove Isabel's reasonable doubt. They are also given 48 hours to come up with a different angle. The search leads the team to Cheryl Clausen, the murder victim's next-door neighbor who was never called to testify in Jean's trial. She overheard the victim quarrel with her grandson about money the day before she was killed. The authorities investigating the case at the time never obtained the grandson's alibi. Although he was a better fit for the killer's eyewitness description than Jean, you three proceed to the grandson's giant home and steal a DNA sample to compare to the antique spoon found at the crime scene, while Olympia seeks assistance from Ada Park. He initially rejects, but she might appeal to his desire for justice. He accepts the DNA testing, and the results indicate that the caterer for the murder victim's 70th birthday was the one who broke in and killed her during an attempted robbery. Park staff then begins taking the required measures to have Jean released from prison. Olympia's next move in Matlock Episode 16. Olympia receives a suspicious dossier about the Johnson case from Amina as U3 works on Jean's case. It immediately sets off Sarah's spidey senses since, as Olympia's mentee, she keeps thorough records of all of her boss's cases. The introduction of this new file throws Sarah into a tailspin. Fearing Olympia is preparing to transition to public defense if the partner race fails. And you know Sarah can't spiral without pulling Billy along. Sarah utilizes her IT contacts to review Olympia's billables for the previous 15 hours and finds there is no Johnson case. Sarah comes to Matty for assistance because tagging along with Olympia to be a public defender is not the law career Sarah signed up for. When Matty inquires about the transfer, Olympia, to her credit, acknowledges that she is considering it. She also delivers a moving monologue about how close she and Matty have grown over the last few months. However, no one should put Olympia down for the count. She holds a press conference following Jean's trial to assist Park in raising her public profile and re-entering the partner race by being the headline story on New York. 1. Matlock Episode 16 reveals a twist in Matty's plan. When I said Matty was on the offensive this week, I meant it. The woman approaches Mrs. Belvin's dog, hinting that if Mrs. Belvin does not answer Matty's incoming phone call, Barry Manilow will suffer serious bodily injury. However, the threat proves ineffective. Mrs. Belvin just brings her dog to work to keep an eye on him, sending Matty into a rage. After that, Matty puts on her nice old lady act and persuades Mrs. Belvin to let her babysit Barry Manilow. The poor office manager would never suspect Matty as the mystery caller, so she hands over her dog. Matty has had to do a lot of sly and underhanded things to solve the Wellbrexa case, but threatening Barry Manilow is one of the worst.